I see y'all guys.
That's a bright room.
You know,
Bernard, one of the greatest fighters of all time, getting inducted this weekend. What's the best memory in Vegas that you've had?
I'm good. Like,
Being that it is Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame?
First of all, I would never walk out on y'all guys. Only if I had gloves on. I see my guy with the hat on over there. Then I see my younger guy out of the crew. And it's good to be here, man. And one thing, too, it's good to be here around other inductees and other champions that put in good work over the years. And one of them, of course, is Winky Wright and Hasim Rahman, and go on and on. But yeah, it's really it's a really respectful flashback of what you have done over the years.
What's the sweetest memory out here in Nevada? Was it knocking out Oscar?
Well, it was that was on a level of stardom, yes. So that was sweet as far as in my career and winning a fight that I was by the scorecards. They said I was losing, but I think it was more of the multiple fights I had in Vegas / the desert, because when you fight in Vegas, that's actually the stage of you made it. Like New York, the Garden, don't get me wrong, has a different feel than when you hit the Vegas stage. There's something about Vegas, the biggest entertainment city in the world, or especially in the United States. So you got people from all over the world comes to Vegas, and Vegas is the worldwide mecca of entertainment and boxing. The biggest fights happen here, and then it's New York and whoever else in the middle, and whoever else is in the categories of 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way down to the numbers. But Vegas is where you made it.
How fitting is it that you're coming in with Winky on the same class?
That's good, man, because of our history, and also because Winky, Southpaw, one of the best defensive fighter of my era, including, Floyd Mayweather. But Winky Wright had a really tight defense and a style that can either make you look bad or he would beat you up and you would never be able to get him with a good, clean shot. So Winky was one of those I call them sleeper fighters, like the guy come in, don't look like he do too much, but hands always up, good defense. And they say, you got cuts and bruises all over your face, later in the fight. So Winky was one of those type guys that was like a workhorse who continue to work round by round by round. And having been knocked out many times.
What's the reason why you got into the fight game?
The boxing game. Inherited from two uncles from both sides of the family, mother and father, and also from the neighborhood and upbringing of the community. And as I say, been introduced basically by bloodline of uncles. Had a lot of fighting in the neighborhoods, and had a lot of fighting in school, had a lot of fighting in reform schools to county jail to state prison. And then it became clear that this is what I want to do. Because obviously I went through some other stuff before I realized that, this is my way out. Out of where? This is my way out of the thinking that I ain't had nothing to contribute to the Hopkins legacy and also to society, whether it's sports, whether it's to my family. This came later on. I wasn't thinking the way I'm thinking now and then, but I realized it late 20s, around 23, 22, came home at 25. And I go all the way back and fast forward to 25. There was some transitional times where I asked myself, I really got through that. And it wasn't a thing where I closed my eyes and I woke up on the beach after being in the ocean. It wasn't that type of party. It was based on putting the work in, obviously, but there's a lot of things that could have sidetracked me that I took on head on, and most of the time defeated it. Sometimes it was a minor setback, but not a major setback, because that's why I'm here for the Hall of Fame weekend in Las Vegas, for my second inductee into the Hall of Fame this year. This is my second.
How different, though, is this guy sitting before us now, the Hall of Famer, one of the greatest fighters of all time? How different is this man we have now than the man who did have to spend the 5.5 years in Philadelphia? Or what do you feel you always had those good qualities?
Different and then and now, so that's two different people. Back then, you wouldn't be interviewing because I would have had your camera. Somebody else would be either buying it or I'd be trying to find out how can I work it, because I didn't think about why would I take his camera if I don't know how to use it. But I would have found out something, I'd have found a way what to do with it. But the transition and knowing who I am was key for me to be here at this table, having this conversation multiple times with everyone here. I do remember faces more than I know your name. And boy, I am so glad and honored to be honored, and also to pat myself on the back to remind me that I deserve that, to give myself a hug, but not bask in it for life, but because things won't let you. But you must understand that if I can pull through the odds of the norm, then I'm the poster man to never give up, never throw the towel in, and definitely never let no one throw it on you and you accept it. You can throw it in, but you can kick it out and throw it out. We've seen that in the ring, we've seen that in life. So I use those lessons in life of boxing and inject it into my life personally. There's evidence, because I haven't been in any one jail cell for 30 plus years. And then I'm taking pictures with cops, federal agents, and signing autographs. And if you follow me, which I believe you do, on my Instagram.
Of course.
I was with two captains in Philadelphia, and I was raising their arms 2 days ago, literally 2 days ago, I posted that. And they stopped their squad cars and got out, knowing I eat at this breakfast spot every day. And they wanted to take a picture. And I raised their hand. I said, I don't know who won this fight, but I'm gonna raise your hand as a draw. As a draw. Who would ever think? And a book would be told in red.
Movie 2 would be nice.
That out of 7 siblings, second oldest, myself, who looked at authority as a threat. And now they are my friends and I'm their friends at higher places and in neighborhoods. So, boxing, because we're here for Hall of Fame weekend. What did boxing do for me overall? It put me in position that I know that I wouldn't have been put in if I didn't have a successful career, which is key. I don't know anybody that don't like winners. We accept, most of us, when we fall short, but it's something about the sweet taste of winning. Whatever it is, that winning and that attitude and that determination, because of boxing, because what I brought to boxing in my era and what boxing gave me, put me in a position to talk to people that I probably never had a chance to talk to or meet. Non-boxing related issues and things. And think about it. Every now and then we have a person, especially boxing, that comes around and comes along and be able to give the media more what they asked for, other than Hype Bernard. In an hour that went past and you didn't even know it. If I was going to be remembered as just that, for one question, that means you remember something about me and it wasn't bad. Maybe bad for years and you miss dinner, you miss your ride to to the airport, but you have something that I encounter for life that you remember. And these are the things about the Hall of Fame that you'll hear about. Even 3 years from now, which will be 5 when it's all said and done, up in Caddyston, New York, where people would talk about what they remember about you. Hopefully before you're dead. But even when you're dead, they will mention things, well, you know, and I'm gonna make sure I keep your ass up late. Even
No, keep us, Bernard, keep us. Don't stop.
You wanna make sure that y'all gonna be saying, listen, man, I just let the camera roll and I asked him how he was doing. I'm glad I had that spirit. I'm glad I had that through all the things that I had to prepare for mentally, with no apologetic bone or feeling of regrets on that part. Because every now and then you must get out what's in you. If it's talking and it doesn't do more damage, talk on sister, talk on brother. And if you're saying things that's good for the ears and good for the people that's listening, whether they agree to disagree with you, then you might be changing somebody's thought to do something that they will regret later. So I changed lanes rather than just stopping.
Bernard, there was one fight you had out here in Vegas, the rematch for Antoine Eccles. It looked like you almost broke your shoulder midway through the fight. They said you didn't have to keep fighting, and then you got up and knocked him out. Do you feel like that fight, being that we're in Nevada and that was in Vegas, that fight shows as much as any other fight who Bernard Hopkins was and all about?
Yeah, because without getting through those ordeals, you wouldn't have probably seen them other fights. See, those steps, whether it was P levels, whether they was A, whether it was, legendary moments or fights, to get the Antoine Eccles 2 tough fights and the 3 tough fights with Robert Allen. Yo, it's repercussions in not winning. For most of us. There's a very few that can not win in either a rematch clause or whatever. Joshua and Ruiz, right?
It's going to be in Saudi Arabia, by
that's
the way.
That's gonna. Well, I don't know how many people from here are going to be there, but I tell you what, I'm predicting they change the venue before the time.
Mm-hmm. We've heard those stories of the Middle East for fights, and it's happening more, but it doesn't always come through.
I'm telling you on camera, don't be surprised, and I don't have no secret news. I'm just telling you, once it sinks in to some maybe who wasn't paying attention, but they still intelligent, it ain't Saudi Arabian Avenue. It ain't Saudi Arabian Road. It's literally another country. When they realize that they gotta take a 3-4 days trip or whatever, 18 hours, whatever, I think that the cry and the fans in both countries, Joshua's land and also in the United States, we got time to change minds, I guess, when it happens. But nevertheless, we here in Las Vegas, Hall of Fame weekend. I'm really retired. 60 years.
You know, I was going to ask you that.
I'm really retired. I know, I read your mind. See, I tell you.
Yeah, but I mean, now you've been like part-time promoter, part-time fighter for a while, and then now you're just promoter. How are you enjoying that? You know, especially the Canelo fights and all the big fights.
And you know what? This is one of those transitions where what you've done in the sport physically, if you have any sense, you won't do it in this side. So this is a change of how to get across that same response. I mean, same motivation of work, and hopefully get a good response out of it. Between the politics, between the stripping of the title for Canelo, for the rumors that's flying, he never, he didn't know about it, this, that, all the things that makes a good soap opera, but reality in boxing. And then when all that stuff is sorted out and the clouds spreads and thins out and you can see the blue sky again, it becomes now like, okay, let's get to work. This has been, to me, a transition that was more, to me, convenient. I prepared for it even when I didn't know at the time that this would play a big factor in my transition. What do I mean by that? Well, I've been my best promoter. Whether you disagree with my shenanigans or not, I've been my best promoter. So what am I doing? I'm promoting. That's the easy transition to me. I also plan ahead. Well, where's the evidence? When I came home from penitentiary in '88, I said I'd never go back because I had a plan. Every time I never had a plan, I got burnt. In my personal life and also in my business life and in my athletic life. So I understand these things can't be compromised unless you want to fail or not give yourself a second chance to win. It's survival to me and then win. It never was win first. It was survival and then win. What do you got to survive? You got to survive making sure that if you don't win every round on point precisely, then that judge out of the three can look at it totally different. And every time I felt that I know I should have done better, I got burned. And I let that lesson prepare me for the transition. Wasn't stop and then start. The transition of being a fighter still. And at the end of my couple of years of boxing, was still active. I was promoting myself, being a promoter, still being a fighter. I learned how to take that personality and became the executioner and then the alien. And then, hey, we got a great fight here at Golden Boy, here at the Fantasy Springs, Orlando. I mean, this is a normally coach talent that's embedded in me from my upbringing, even in a bad time of my life, all the way up to now. I am a talker. I don't have to convince nobody I am that. I must put this energy and this talkative mindset and personality together in order to represent both of those characters in a respectful way.
So Bernard, what's
real quick, you and Winky had something else in common. When you started your careers, you were being avoided because of the way you fought, but you broke through that, and you were talking about the planning. What was your plan and mindset when you were going through that, waiting for those big fights to come? And looking back on your career, you obviously had a great resume just like he did. How content are you with the way your career played out?
I'm very pleased the way my career played out, even at the end. Winky Wright and other styles that similar styles that Winky presented. I just learned how to sneak shots in, even though the hands is there. You cannot force a punch in where a guy has a defense. You're gonna wear yourself out, or you're gonna get countered. You have to sort of trick guys to punch something that's not there, but I am. When you look at Winky Wright, to me, and I remember how I had to beat Winky and get in those guards that was up. Think about a turtle.
That's turtle hunting. That's what you called it.
I remember. Think about a turtle. A turtle is a defensive, conscious animal. They sense and they also see, and they in their shell. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Winky Wright had a turtle shell, not a turtle style. There's a difference. And so when Winky Wright knew and sensed something coming, the shell was his guard. And time you deflect and do all that stuff, he's still watching and he's still pecking and poking. And this is swollen, bleeding, puffed up. And you're wondering what you got hit with. And Winky was successful even after me with a lot of people. Look at the Trinidad fight, right? Most styles cannot be patient enough to trick the turtle, to not be there for the turtle to put his head in. I was successful in Winky having his head out the shell. My neck ain't long enough, but trust me. And I got some moments where Winky would tell you, if you ask him, he got hit more in that fight than most any fight that he ever fought that he can remember. Because he had a style of a turtle.
Talking about Trinidad, for our Puerto Rican reporter here, I gotta get this answer here. When you threw the flag and all those people were coming, what was going through your mind? Just getting the hell out of there, or?
I'm a crazy son of a bitch.
We know how passionate Latino people are with their flags and their countries.
I'm surprised you made it out.
Me too. I jumped from, I would say, that light, that ceiling, from the rafters of Roberto Coliseum.
Yeah.
Because at the run up, the stairs of the Coliseum. And the reporters that was in the front line and the fans were spread out. It's over 5,000 plus people at the Roberto Coliseum. The reporters was running because they was in fire to get hit or something. So they was running with me, even though the 90% of them was Spanish also. I don't know, and I'm glad I did, to be honest with you, and I've said this many times in interviews. First of all, I shouldn't have gotten out of Puerto Rico alive. Nevertheless, I did. And second, that's when I knew I had to fight. That's the mindset of Bernard Hopkins. Here, I survived to get out of Puerto Rico. You don't let a person get out of Puerto Rico who threw a flag. And again, I went back with Roberto, WBO president,
Paco Barcas. Yeah.
I'm embedded in the history of Puerto Rico. But I must say, I went back there, I kissed a lot of ass. I kissed a lot of hands. I talked to a lot of people. And we good, we cool.
Do you still get fans asking you about that? Like any Puerto Rican
Yeah,
fans?
but it is in a different way. Like, hey, Papi, you know, you different. Don King told me to do it. Tell me that was for promotional. Tell me that was for promotional. Because you ain't like that. I said, yeah, Don King made you do it. I said, yeah. Don King. But yeah, no, seriously, I got that a lot where people were asking me, Bobby, we know Don King, that was all promotional, sell tickets. And I thought about it. I want to, at first, I'm thinking like, no, I was serious, but I'm not like that now. I said, oh, wait a minute. Yes, son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, Bernard, one thing, you're the greatest fighter of all time in terms of into your 40s. Your 40s, talking about guys fighting in their 40s, you're the greatest.
So I'm up there with like Jersey Joe the Great.
Archie Moore,
the mongoose.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, Pacquiao now at 40 is beating the Keith Thurman.
See what I started now.
But what's crazy about it is
he really showed. See, it's not even. Go ahead, sorry, I cut you off.
No, but basically just that the way you did it was through. You always mentioned it's my brain, it's my smart. So even with my athletic ability,
it's not only the brain. It's also, first of all, it's the mindset. And then it's keeping your body prepared. So it's hand in hand. The body, mind, and soul and spirit. But the body has to be taken care of in the process of you aging. So your mind can say you can do anything. How many people you know that think they could do anything because their mind says it? But reality, they get a reality check and realize when they talk to the doctor, you trying to run with that 25-year-old doing 880s, 50-yard dash, and you pull the muscle. Duh, you can't. So there's a combination of Pacquiao taking care of himself. Pacquiao having been in a lot of wars. Pacquiao still being the flashbacks of Pacquiao. And his energy. And he'll beat a lot of guys that's half his age.
But I remember you said, like, you talked about James, Tony, and Roy, and you said you got great talent too, but you said them guys had more than just natural God-given talent, and you outlasted them because you knew more tricks in the bag, you knew the craft. So how come Manny is able to do it in his 40s when most fighters that rely on that crazy speed that they've been gifted with, you know what I mean?
Because they rely on one or two things. Pacquiao's an all-around fighter. He's an all-around fighter, and to me, pound for pound is a different era of pound for pounds. A resume that you need to be considered pound for pound. Sometimes somebody says because you got all the belts. Somebody say because you won for so many years. A guy that can box either way, 5, 6, 7, 8, many styles. He can go backwards, he can go forwards. The Ray Robinson, the great fights that he fought where he had to back up to beat you. He had to reverse his car to get through Manhattan. I mean, sometimes you're gonna have to back up and go right or go left. Sometimes you might have to just go forward. All around style, all around fighter, they normally last longer because we know when to change lanes on you. We know that quick, this ain't working. What worked for the 80% of guys you fought is not working now. And it's not the first round. Obviously, you ain't gonna throw the towel in just on the first round. But it comes a time where the corner can't even let you know when it's time. That's the experience. That's how you treat yourself, temple. And now you take all these things and you take them into 35 and up. Because 35, even in football, even in basketball, right? Everybody's counting down how many years LeBron James have. Why? Because he's 35. When it comes to 30, first of all, you got to between 25, in some cases a little younger, but between 25 and 35, boy, you better get it. Because between 20 and 21, depending on what sport you is, that's your learning process. That's your establishing that you are capable, right? Injury, you got to, pray for that don't happen, whether it's any sport. Hamstring is game changer. Now you have that window where you have to go ahead and you got to say, okay, this is where now, what was important 10 years or 5 years ago in negotiations is different 5 years later, especially if you're still in demand. It's different. So Pacquiao has the same as a very few, but more back in the day than now, the longevity to go in his 40s. And a lot of it got to do with lifestyle. I don't know Pacquiao's lifestyle, but I know for a fact, what I do know about his lifestyle is that he done something right. He done more than one or two things right. To be in this, at this stage, on this level, beating guys like Thurman, who's not a pushover, right? It's not a walk in the park. And then set himself up for maybe a Spence fight, or maybe this fight or that fight, depending on what weight they. There's so many options for Pacquiao. Pacquiao right now is in position to literally be in the top conversations of talk on who super fight he's gonna fight next.
Well, you know, another one I wanted to ask is your guy, Canelo. There's a lot of talk now he's gonna wait till Kovalev fights Yard and basically attempt what you did when you fought Tarver, move up to 175. If that fight is to happen at the end of the year, are you gonna be helping?
Sergey?
Yeah, are you gonna be helping Canelo with making that jump? I mean, Canelo's a little bit shorter than you were.
Double you. You know what?
But you got the experience in.
Let me tell you. First of all, I know about the Kovalev conversation.
And he has to win his.
He
fight.
wants to fight. He wanted to fight Kovalev a fight ago, too. But nevertheless, he's going to grow into that, and I think the time is right, especially through the political things that goes on in between the few months that went past. I believe he will do that, and then I believe he'll still continue to fight at 60 to defend the titles that he do have. But to make history from 75, coming from 60, it's being the second fighter that's done that. Well, yeah, the second, because I was the first one to achieve that because Ray Robinson fell short because he couldn't answer the bell for the 15th round, right?
Joey Max.
Exhaustion.
That's what made me, tempted me to say, hey, Richard, at that time, I want to fight Tarver. What do you mean? Light heavyweight, Bernard, you only weigh? Yeah, I want that fight. And Canelo believes that where he's been seeing in the light heavyweight division, and also Sergey's fights with even Andre Ward, that he can execute that, being a good body puncher, being a good, and of course younger, but also experienced. That's a challenge that to keep Canelo in the mindset of he has to prove something. There's no turning back in the people he fight right now. And there's a lot of cries out there saying we want him to fight somebody that either Triple G the third time, some say fight one of the Charlo brothers.
Yeah. Boo Boo Andre.
Andre, yup. I read that too, and I've had conversations about what I think about that fight. There are some good fights under 175, but to take that Sergey fight, which is not a walk in the park, but I see why Canelo would want to take that chance at this time. I think it's a gutsy move, but I also think it's the right move to make if he continue to choose that move.
What can you say about the rumors? I know you probably can't say a lot, but that Canelo's not happy with Golden Boy, not speaking to Oscar and Eric Gomez, that he tweeted he wasn't happy with Robert Diaz for losing the belt, like he didn't agree to. What do you sense, or what can you say about that whole situation?
I just think things will play out, and you know, I can't say too much about it right now. I know bits and pieces of things that I get updated on, but I can tell you things will be worked out.
It's not the first time we've heard of a fighter being upset with a promoter. I mean, it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm upset with promoters. I don't even know why I'm upset with
all of them.
Like seriously,
And
all of them. And I'm a promoter. So I'm upset with my damn self right now.
What fight would you like next for Canelo, though? What makes the most sense in your eyes?
Kovalev.
Is this the weight, or do
You can
just
always
see
come
that-
back down to 160.
Is that
Is it the weight, or is it just the style?
Know what I think? Know what I think though? Know what I think and know from my experience. Know why I say Kovalev? Because it's a danger in the mental. When you beat a guy or the fight was close and y'all fight again the third time and the fourth time, and I know it's good drama and it's history where we can name fighters who fought 3 times and it became historic 30, 50, 100 years from now. But every time you know that you gotta go to the well with the same person that y'all know each other, it's gonna be the same result. Normally, even with the Joe Frazier and Ali fights, they was 3. And then you look at I believe Mickey Ward and Gotti.
Pacquiao Marquez?
Then Pacquiao Marquez. Man, what do you think you're gonna see different other than
Right.
the uniforms that they're gonna wear? The colors of their shorts will be different. Because they're gonna pay more attention to what they're gonna wear the third time, so they won't repeat what they wore the second time. So I would like to see him challenge himself like he's romancing of conversation of doing. It's with Sergey Kovalev. That would challenge Canelo more than during the third fight at this time. It might, look, at this time, fight one of the Charlo brothers. Let's not forget about that. There's not like, don't act like it's, forget the light heavyweight right now. I understand. See, I cleared out the division, or put it this way, I cleared it out and I stayed, and I said, you know what? I want to go up after the 2 Jermaine Teller fights, whatever the history of debate. Maybe it was a split, maybe he won one, or they gave both to Jermaine.
Dwayne Ford gave the 12th round, which otherwise you would have held the title.
Yes, yes. So, let the fights play out, but let the fans not be cheated from the fights that can be made and should be made. And we're gonna do that. Golden Boy is gonna do that. We promise to do that. And there's always gonna be rumors, especially when there's some friction between the sanctioning body, the fighter didn't know, who knows. But one thing for sure, Golden Boy is a family. We gotta focus on, and we will focus on to come, because the world of boxing don't stop because you having something in your house that you gotta straighten out. Boxing goes like life goes. They'll mourn for 24 hours, depending on the person. If you're lucky, they'll mourn for 48 hours. But after the morning of everything, the next morning, and back to business again. And that's how we feel.
Do you feel the Kovalev fight is a good style matchup for Canelo though? Because what if he wanted to fight a different light heavyweight? Would you recommend him go ahead and challenge yourself against a different
If it was anybody out there other than Sergey that was dangerous like Sergey, that's been tested and won championships, yeah. But to me, if it ain't Sergey, then don't go. To me, it's the name. I mean, keep it real, it's the name.
Abel Sanchez told me.
And I cut you off. I got a little excited here. And does anybody remember me and Sergey fought, right?
Yep.
So I have a little bias,
Because you get the get back
revenge is
for
so
you.
sweet. It's so sweet. So you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So you asked that question, so I wasn't going to say nothing to you about it. Okay. But yeah, we'll.
Well, because Abel trained him, Sergey, for like 10 fights. I talked to him. He said, I think Canelo's going to knock him out with the body shot. That's what he told me. And obviously, he's not pro Canelo, being he was with Triple G for those 2 fights.
Well, let me ask you a question. You heard me say that before you even said what you said.
Yep.
But I didn't say the knockout part. I just said
Body.
I think that would be something that he would invest in real early.
And just to close on Triple G though, it's like you said, every time Manny and Marquez fought, it was pretty much the same fight, Ali and Frazier, but those last fights, they ended with a knockout. Wouldn't Canelo maybe want to put it to bed by knocking Triple G out in the third fight, stopping him?
I think that damn if you do, damn if you don't. I think that people say either was done, they know each other. I think the excuse will be Canelo had his number, even though they had close fights. The only upside to that is it would bring a conversation up about the first 2 fights if Triple G wins by a knockout or decision. I think it's a no-win situation, period, for Canelo. Well, no matter what he do, it will only be, to me, if they fight, purpose, one of the biggest money fights in history. If the money doesn't reflect the business side, to fight this guy and I'm 2 up, or at least 1 up and 1 draw, then why I'm gonna run through this fire again and really do what I know what I did the second time, all right? Say the first fight's a draw, right? And so we're dealing with 1 fight as a win on Canelo's side. Now, you're gonna fight the 4th time? If it's a draw or even close. So now it's like, it has to be something you gotta be a fool to not take this $500 million or close to it. Then it becomes business. It becomes really business now.
And any worries with, you know how Marvin Hagler said, any worries that with Canelo making all this money, it's hard to keep that motivation when it's guaranteed $350 million, that it's hard to get off those silk sheets like Marvin. Any worry with that about Canelo, that he'll, because he was so motivated for the Triple G rematch.
Think about it. I know what you said. I get the soundbite, but nobody questions the soundbite. Only but Bernard Hopkins. The soundbite quote, it's hard to be hungry if you go to bed with silk shorts or silk underwears. And I say to this, that money and that quote sounds good. It fits baseball better than it fits boxing. It fits football in some cases better than it fits boxing. See, guaranteed on paper is different than guaranteed if you're in the NBA and you got a hamstring and you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I'm getting my check every 2 weeks. My check comes every 2 weeks. And you know what? Y'all don't want me no more? That team gotta buy me out. That team they gotta, look, I go, but they gotta, you hear that now? This is the business part of Bernard Hopkins. When I'm asked legitimate, really, to most people, be tough questions, a tough answer, but a tough question that they will have to deal with. Guaranteed on paper. In boxing, it's only on paper. If you don't win, if you don't win, I'm 100% without talking about the deal, right? Because it was confidentiality. That every business entity has a clause. Because if there wasn't, and you had a contract no matter what happened, boom, bang, give me my money. So we know to keep you mindful and chasing, if you get past this year, right? Look, that year. And we cut it off. We had a 4-year, 5-year deal. Right? Bryce Harper from the Phillies. XYZ for the Phillies. Player from New York, this player here, big player. Then you had one fighter up there, Canelo. So what I'm saying is, guaranteed, yes. Nothing is guaranteed until you get through that contract.
And Bernard,
Plus, I'm guessing when you have that kind of money, I've never experienced that, but you want more money. When you have the cars, you want the new car. When you have the house, you want another house. So,
well, that's only for people that get intoxicated with the wants and the needs. unless you just want everybody to drive every car just to say you haven't, you only can drive one car at a time.
That seems to be the culture nowadays, though.
Well,
you buy a car, you buy another car.
Well, I've been a young person also. And I am a victim of ignorance. You like that, right?
We've all been victims.
I'm understanding when I open the door and I'm looking at these 6 cars in the garage, and I'm saying to myself, when the last time this car been started?
Battery's dead.
Battery's dead, there's a pile of oil on the floor because it sat a little too long. That's when you know that you gotta have a conscience of sanity. Obviously, I took a little beating because the same car you paid for, when you take it back, you don't get the same. So you learn from ignorance of experience, right? Yeah. And I learned how to understand that what you said is common, unfortunately, but you're right. But it comes a time where some gotta reflect and think. Do you let your eyes get bigger than your stomach when you go to a buffet because you know that you can grab anything you want and you can eat anything you want? And you grab 2 plates and you go up there like it's a free fall. Like you gotta go up there one time and get all you can get and you can't go no more. You have to learn how to have strong discipline, to use what you have and not be wasteful. So I learned before what most happens to us when it's too late. You can learn a lot of things when you don't have no more. Mm-hmm. Did you learn? Yeah. You give me a ride up the street? Yeah. So if you can try to learn from other people's bad experience, which is going to be there whether you like it or not. I don't want you to do bad. Right. I don't want you to fail, right? If I'm a real person, I don't want you to fail, but they're going to be there. Yep. They can get it together. But if I can learn that you went down that alley and the only thing I heard is a scream and I seen one of your Chuck sneaks get thrown back, I'm not going down that alley, right? Right? Might dial 911, might go get you some help. But if that alley spit out only one sneak that you had on, I seen you going in with 2. You think I'm going down an alley? So you became an example for me to duck that bullet.
You mentioned earlier that you always have a plan, you get in trouble when you don't have a plan. So now that you're in your post-fight career as a promoter, what is your plan moving forward? Where are we going to see Bernard Hopkins 5 years from now?
My boss, 5 years, I'm 54. No, 5 years now. Think about it. I'll be 59. But listen. Yeah, baby. Well, first of all, I'd be glad to be a year away from collecting my Social Security, and also I can benefit off my bonds that have been sitting there. When I turn 60, it's retirement. I can start collecting tax-free money out of that, so I'd be able to go ahead and do some fun things when I'm 60. But the trade-off is I gotta be 60. Right? Do you want to be 60? Do you want to be 60 fast, or do you want to be 60 slow? Yeah. The way I feel and the way things is, I want to be 60 slow, but I do want to get there at a slow pace. Now, listen. My whole vision now is to outdo what I've done in my boxing career, to keep me motivated and keep me relevant, not just in boxing. And being an inspiration to those, black, white, Hispanic, anywhere they live, no matter what religion, no matter what they represent in their own self, no matter what their lifestyles are. If it's positive and I'm with it and I can agree to disagree and you respect me, I respect you, then cool. I want to be the poster man for that you can be successful. I didn't say be successful and you're going to be successful at everything you try for. But I'm saying that if I could have made it and I made it, then there's talent in you that I must keep promoting to people. I must continue to tell them the story. And a story of mine, like you have a story and I have a story, if everyone in this interview, that's doing this interview, that's hearing this interview, that can pick one thing out in their life, no matter what age they are of mindfulness, they can say to you and I what made them stronger, because everyone has a story where it could either wipe you out, and not just physically, broke your back, and you're here to talk about it. That story is no different than my story. Your story is no better, and my story is no better than yours. So when people say, well, Bernard, my story ain't like yours, but man, I know I did come. No, I stop them right in their tracks. I say, no. Your story is like mine. And matter of fact, your story is up and might be a little notch higher because you recognize that was the moment in your life. And they'd be like, you know what, that makes sense. I said, man, you remember that story? How long was it? 10, 15, some say 20. I said, and you still remember it just like it happened yesterday. So that defined you. Because if you didn't get over that, you wouldn't be here to tell me about it. There must be who I've been once I became a planner, a thinker, preparing myself as an athlete and as a citizen in this world, that you must know who you are, what you are, to be able to have goals to make all this stuff mature, become a blueprint for others. Because people are watching. People are watching. And when you become a person of interest in a good way, not in a way of looking for you, and you become a person that people admire, kids, grown men, grown women, and they come up and they tell you stories about what they remember about you, and they come up and say how I inspired them through something they read. And I'm out there signing autographs and people and hugging them, and they telling me these stories, and some I remember a lot of them. And they show me pictures that they had. This is what the Hall of Fame weekend brings. People that live in Vegas or live close to Vegas and came from all around the world to say they remember you from this picture they took. I want you to have this picture. Of course, they got copies and they want me to sign one. Yo, they saved these pictures for how long? Because they was planners too. They knew that one day they weren't going to take a chance on not saving it to give it to me and have me sign one or two. This is planning. This is people that you touched, even if it was just through boxing. And then there's those who come across like me in the alleys of the world and other sports where it's something more than just what he became or done in the ring. He had a story behind him. We all do. And I played it out to the max, and I took that and I squeezed every drop of liquid out of that towel. This body, this soul, to the sweet science of boxing. I never never left a stone unturned based on underestimating my opponent and strategizing how to beat him mentally and physically. But I had to beat him mentally. And that's why a lot of things was done before the fight, to get in his head. Because anyone, even in society, they can use words to destroy people, use words to entice and people to be the worst of themselves. It can happen in the political world today. It can happen in sports, it can happen in motivating, and it can happen in tearing people down. This is very powerful. And if it's misused, a lot of people can get destroyed. A lot of people can be influenced, and you can create an atmosphere that will start a war between you and I, just based off words. Today is a clear sign what words can do and what words can unite or light up.
Well, it's interesting because you're a man who made his living off his fist, and they try to say sticks and stones don't break my bones, but here we got one of the great fighters ever saying, no, this could hurt you maybe just as bad as your hands, you're saying.
This, compared to a punch wears off. Word sticks. You remember a person when they say, I don't like you, and you see that person again. You remember a person that do something to you, whether it's an act or words, especially words. They can never get that back from most people, even if they say they didn't mean it. You heard something that stuck with you. Be conscious of what we say. And if we don't, we can basically verbally destroy the world in the consciousness of it.
Especially now that people have so much more reach, you know? I mean, before, we can talk, but now you can talk to the world, basically.
Social media.
Social media and video and so many different platforms now.
Do you see the skills of Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
To be able to switch in a conversation and tie it into this conversation, talk slashly politically without mentioning politically or names, because I don't have to. It don't have to be anybody at the highest seat. It could be somebody at the common seat. See, I ain't gonna say the lowest. I went high to anticipate y'all thinking I'm gonna go low. No, the common seat, the common people. The common people is not the people up top. The common people is not even me anymore, because you put me in the 1%er bracket, right? So now, okay, but I do know about the common people. I know about the people that I haven't attached myself from. In some cases, it wasn't positive for me, because you can't help everybody. Even though they might say what they want, but they really don't want what they want. I understand that, because I've grown up and I've come through really both lives. I live in a negative and a positive way of, say, the blue collar, common people. And then through boxing, through the travels, I've got to meet, introduce myself, and also be introduced and rub elbows with the corporate world side. So I'm coming with these degrees, one from they never experienced, they never had to, they had their travels. This was not involved in their travels. But I'm coming with that, and I'm coming and learning as I go theirs. It puts me in a more advantaged situation, because as an advantage, I know when I'm talking to a bullshitter or not. I know when I see and hear, and also they might think, persuade me to believe, or to think that I know what I do know. So that's to my advantage. Even this interview, seeing it, they is some convinced and arrogant, they won't even take this as any warning. This would be, oh, he just talking. That's cool too, because that's what I want them to be, to think that way. I don't want to teach you how to stop me. Why would I do that? But this is for those who are going to listen, who are going to understand around the world. Than anybody that would see this interview. This go to millions of people all around social media. That I believe, not hope, I believe, I know it, that it will reach the right people, and even in the people that was thinking different. I believe they would think different when they hear this interview. Not just of me, of themselves, because there was a lot of things said, and it wasn't just about me. Most of it was, but a lot of it was just about what we talked about, and there's many topics that we have a dialogue on the last 2 hours.
But Bernard, just to close for me on a boxing one, Floyd and Manny, they got a lot of deserved praise. They're called the best two fighters since the year 2000, the new millennium. But do you feel like we should put Bernard Hopkins right there with the two? Because
I'm not a millennial.
But you beat Trinidad past the year 2000, Oscar, Tarver, Pascal, oldest champion of all time. That happened in the new millennium. Shouldn't we?
Let me ask you a question. Like, what benefit do I get out of that? Like, do I get an extra check? Do I get a, I mean, because if I don't, listen, I'm doing fine, I'm doing well, I'm living off the interest, I'm standing on principle, but I don't have the time to catfight, right? Like,
It's pointless.
Like, cause I ain't gonna fight the catfight, cause I'm a dog, but I ain't gonna be dealing with a catfight situation. With people's conversational arguments about where this person or that person should be. You know what I think a DNA of a person's report card should be? That's your DNA. Your report card is your DNA, and your DNA is your report card. The work they put in, the longevity that they experience, woman or man, reflects on where they should be. I don't need a person that didn't have any ability to do what any of us have done in the ring to give me a report card where I belong. Like, when do we, that goes for this, anything. This ain't just for boxing. When did we become hostage to a non-participant in any sport to be able to say where a person belong in history? You must take the people that contribute in the sport, that's alive, that's capable, of course, that know what they're doing and their faculties are in order to be able to give the report card of their comrades. That's in baseball. You have that. You really do. You have it in football. I assume you're gonna have it in soccer, or already have it. I know you got it in hockey. When do we sit down and say, who is these experts saying to us in history, the millennials, or the coming of the next generation, to be able to tell the generation behind us who deserving of their respect? That's what we're doing. When you talk to the generation that's now, you are telling them that this generation is the one that we sanction as the guy you, or woman, you pay homage as a what? As an expert.
But you have even common people judging themselves that way now. You know, social media, how many followers I got, how many likes I got. So it's not even celebrities. Now everybody's judging
off what other people think.
Stuff. And I'm not saying that's right. I don't judge myself that way.
Right.
But, you know, one of the main problems that you have with kids now growing up is, oh my God, I'm depressed because I'm not being liked in social media.
I got 40 likes, you got 50.
You know, so, you know, this is like a wide thing now where everybody's judging themselves based on what other people think.
You know what that tell you? Easy fit. That I'm gonna say. Most people are followers. 90%, 95% of the people are followers, 10% is running the world. How do a sheepdog, Labrador Retriever, keep 400 or 500 sheep in order? You figure that each of these sheep can go the opposite way. What keeps a herd in a pack to go where they want to go and there's only one dog controlling them? That's society. What to wear, what's in style, what to be cool in. So back to what you were saying in a different way. If I don't have $300 Yeezys on, right? Kanye and that. I got a two pair of Kanye, but if I don't have Yeezys, I ain't cool, right?
Or Jordan.
Peer pressure. So when man, come on, man. We live in a society where you just got to do what? Know what's the solution? I got the solution.
I think you just got to do you. And
in 2019, you would never know that I'm ready to say something that's going to change the world when they read this or hear it. I have the solution. Who would think a boxer, right, former fighter, former this, that some people are going to say found the solution? They're going to say, who would think a boxer is going to find a solution to our problems? So you want to hear it? Okay. You have to educate and let your child, whoever you're taking care of, your grandchild, you have to let the young people know, nieces and nephews, you have to let them know that you make the shoes, the clothes, the material things, they don't make you. When you can separate to realize that this can be replaced with another water, that can be replaced with another car, this can be replaced with another ring, you can be replaced out of that relationship. 90% of the things can be replaced, but history never can be replaced. Once it's done, it's in the books. And we must tell and show and prove those messages every single time it flares up to who you are. Are you Yeezys? Are you this? Are you that car? Is that car important to you or are you important in that car? I'm important in the car. Well, why are you worrying about the gas you put in that car being 93 high octane and you just got finished eating junk and drinking and smoking and pills and whatever else you're doing to kill yourself? You just got finished eating or smoking or doing something that's going to kill you. But you just got finished arguing because the guy put 89 octane in your tank and not 93, but you would have gone, like, I'm trying to figure out where your priorities are. We must show our next generation the credibility of priorities to be able to show you the credibility, and the priority would be do's and don'ts. Like, really? And once they get it, not everybody, but once they get it, but you gotta start at your house first. I'm gonna come to your house and clean up, and then you look and got the door open, you be like, no, you got something on your floor. I'm a hypocrite now. See, I talk health and fitness not because I want you to be a boxer. Walk around the block. That's all. You drove 2 blocks to go to the store, and you got there faster walking. You had to stop at the light. You had to wait till the light changed. Then you had to find parking. If you'd have walked, you'd have been there and came back. As a matter of fact, you forgot something, you'd have walked back to the store and been back quicker.
Blocks are bigger in Vegas though than in Philly.
That's true.
Well, let's thank you for your time in this interview, man. Any last thoughts on 2019 Nevada Boxing Hall?
I must say, for my sake in the future, and sucking up to you, you've been very good, not a host, but a good patient guy with the camera.
Oh, thank you.
Don King told me to do that in Puerto Rico.
You gotta tell him.
Well, maybe it's from telling the camera. Yeah. We had to promote the fight. We promoted the fight. Respect for Puerto Rico, San Juan.